Power is a function of torque and revolutions per minute. Once either of the two raises, the overall peak power does as well. Spoke about high specific outputs in different categories many times yet, but almost never dived into the other side. Today it is time for some of the lowest petrol specific outputs in the car world. Toyota Century. Still as the only V12 powered Japanese car so far, the Toyota Century was launched in 1997 with the 1GZ FE unit. It was claimed to have 280 horsepower, although some sources state that there was a high output if you have knowledge about the gentleman's agreement. Anyhow, it was never a performance car, and the torque figure and curve was more important. Tatra 700. Launched as the Tatra 613 successor, the 700 first received a 3.5-litre engine, which was later accompanied by a 4.4-litre with a smoother torque curve. With double overhead cams and being placed at the back of the car, it was enough to get it up to 250 km/h of top speed. After more than 100 years of passenger car production, this was the last automobile to be built by Tatra. Audi Coupé 2.2. Everybody knows the Audi Quattro, also known as the UR Quattro. This coupe model is its base model with various other engines than just the turbo 2.2-litre. There were 1.6 and 1.8-litre 4-cylinders and 5 cylinders of 1.9 up to 2.3 litres. Some were carbureted, others received a fuel injection, and some reached lower power output after facelift when catalytic converters were installed. Ford Crown Victoria. Typically known as a police interceptor or yellow New York taxi, the Ford Crown Victoria shares many not only mechanical parts but also design cues with the Mercury Grand Marquis and Mercury Marauder. The civilian Crown Victoria was slightly slower than a 250 horsepower police interceptor with around 223 horsepower from a single overhead cam Ford modular V8. To be fair, this 2-valve unit had 190 horsepower at its weakest state of tuning. Pontiac Trans Am Turbo. Designed to meet strict emission regulations of the 80s, the Turbo 301 was a new power plant to replace the outgoing 350 unit. It was originally designed as a low-emission student project at General Motors Institute in Flint in the 70s. In 1978, Pontiac confirmed it, and at the beginning of the new decade, the car was launched. The Trans Am Turbo was good for an 8-second 0 to 60 mph time and 116 miles per hour, which weren't impressive numbers even back then. Mercedes-Benz 450 SEL 6.9. Succeeding the famous red pig, the 450 SEL was the top-of-the-range model of the W116 S-Class. The 6.9 figure in the name meant the larger M100 hand-built unit as the largest non-American engine after World War II at the time. The crankshaft, conrods and pistons were forged, and each engine was tested for 265 minutes, 40 of them under high load. Dodge Ram V10. So far, Dodge has created two V10s, and the second one was used in the Ram models. This one was duty-oriented, with its torque figure very similar to the Cummins unit. It was an alternative for people disliking diesels, as the peak torque was at just 2400 RPM. At its base core, it was a 5.9 liter of the Chrysler LA series, with higher stroke and two more cylinders. Cadillac 500. The Cadillac 500 is a real interesting unit. On one hand, it is one of the largest passenger car engines after World War II. On the other hand, it has an absolute pathetic specific output. The most powerful variant was delivering up to 400 horsepower, which wasn't particularly bad, but 190 horsepower was a V6 territory. One could disagree with the fact that it has some of the most brutal sound though. This video wasn't meant to show the absolute underdogs in this discipline, but some interesting examples which the automotive world had to go through to get it where it is now. If I were to choose one, I would pick the V10 or V12, and you? Feel free to share any other petrol examples of low specific output. Cheers!
Oh, life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above.